Hey guys, I thought I'd do a quick video on a documentary I watched recently and tell you guys about it. It was specifically service dog related. More specifically, it was about guide dogs. But the training is similar, not identical, and the process of them passing or failing a dog is similar. I watched this on Disney Plus, so if any of you guys watching have Disney Plus, make sure you check this out. It's called Pick of the Litter, and it essentially follows 6 dogs from the time they're puppies to the time they graduate with their new handler. And it was just really interesting because they showed what was going on with the puppy raisers and the dogs, them wondering if the dogs were going to pass or not, and stuff like that. I thought that was really interesting. And then later on in the series, they show the potential handlers and kind of what their story is and why they need a dog. Thought it was interesting they had a lady. It's interesting because most of the people that they showed were either college students or people my age. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But it was interesting they showed a bit of the backstory. Yeah, one of the ladies they showed was, it was her 3rd dog that she was applying for. And just the difference, showing the difference between someone, maybe this is their 1st dog, or someone who's getting a replacement dog, just kind of how they handle it, they know what they're doing, and stuff like that. The reason I decided to actually do a video on this was because one of the girls reminded me of me. Just because of what happened to her and what her experience with the organization was. She was actually turned down for a dog that they went in and realized that she couldn't work with the dog effectively because of she had a lot of spatial issues and she didn't know where she was in space, which if you're working with a guide dog, you have to know where you are and be aware of your body, or you're not going to know how to effectively use the dog, because you have to know what you're doing for the dog to be able to help you, and that goes for most service dogs. But this girl, she was a college student. She didn't have really good spatial skills, which is important for someone who's visually impaired because they need to know where they are in space. And that is different for each person. So they dropped her from the program. They're like, work on this and reapply. That's so much of what happened to me, and I really relate to that. And so that was the part that I kind of got out of it, that I really related to this girl Kendall, because she had gotten dropped through no fault of her own, and she still really wanted a dog, but they were really nice about it and told her to reapply after she had worked on some stuff. And I apologize for the lighting because maybe this will help a little bit. I think that'll be a little bit, but I'm kind of backlit here. But anyway, so I thought that was really interesting. And it just, the way they trained the dogs in general, that they go through 8 phases. If they don't pass any of those phases, they're dropped. only about 70% of their dogs pass, which is, I think, average. The general statistic is with service dogs, in general, only about 2% of the dogs make it to be service dogs. I don't know what that is for the certain types of dogs, specifically, since Duo doesn't do guide dogs. So that was kind of interesting. They had a long list of reasons that they dropped dogs. It was interesting, a reason they will drop a dog is if it has accidents. They have to be reliable with their elimination or they can't take them. And their reasoning for that was someone who is blind isn't going to see if the dog has an accident. So they have to be essentially bomb-proofed and not have any accidents, and they have to have that, the handler has to be in control of their elimination, which is good for a pet, but necessary for any type of service dog. Period, amen, the end. And if I haven't mentioned that before in these vlogs, that's very important. And one of the dogs, during one of the last test it did with its puppy raiser before it was about to be recalled to the facility, it had an accident. And the puppy raiser was like, he hasn't done that in months. And so they were kind of panicking, but the dog passed, so it was fine. And the other thing I thought was really interesting was how they trained the dog to direct the handler through traffic. They literally are driving cars at the team to teach the dog what's called intelligent disobedience, which means the dog has to think for itself and disobey a direct order from the handler to protect the handler. In my case, that's not really going to be necessary with my dog because it's not doing anything to protect me from anything I may or may not be doing. It's mostly for mobility, and it's going to be pretty standard mobility commands. And so I thought that was really interesting, and if I could have insert a video of them teaching these dogs to deal with oncoming traffic, I would. It was just really interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting was that they teach, the trainers will do training drills with the dogs blindfolded. So they are totally relying on the dog and testing them to see how well the dog is thinking. So if they're not doing something correctly, they can correct that or whatever. I mean, it's something you have to think about if you have a sighted person that's training a dog for someone that can't see. You have to be able to make sure the dog is doing what it's supposed to do when you can't give it a visual cues. So that was very interesting training technique. And the cool thing about Guide Dogs for the Blind is it's one of the oldest service dog organizations in America. It's that, and then you have Canine Companions for Independence. I don't know when that one got going, but Guide Dogs, they were one of the first ones in America, because most service dogs in America started with guide dogs, and then it branched out from there. It was just, this documentary is really good. And so check it out on Disney Plus. It's called Pick of the Litter, and I really hope they do a second season of it, because in my experience and from my frame of reference, it was really interesting and informative. And as someone who is a future service dog handler, it just taught me a lot about how I should act as a handler. But granted, most of these people that got these dogs, they were pretty confident, and you could tell most of them had been around dogs either as pets or they had had a service dog before. And so I thought, I mean, it's just, for me personally, that it was really informative. So that's pretty much the vlog for today. Before I wrap up here, just a few maintenance notes. I meant to have this up earlier, and I would have had this up earlier, except I've been having issues with my phone. I almost got a new phone today, but it turned out most of my problem was there was an outage with my carrier, which caused a mess of problems, and then I ended up completely wiping my phone because I thought the problem that I was having was software related. And it wasn't, so I had to completely reload my phone this morning. And I'm still kind of getting stuff caught up. I still have stuff that I'm going to have to restart, which is kind of annoying. My journal I keep on my phone got wiped again, so that was really annoying. So I have stuff like that, and so this is up late. That's why. Hopefully I will have an update from Duo either end of this month, beginning of next month. I may email them at some point and just kind of touch base, like, what is their game plan opening up? How soon could I come down? Blah, blah, blah. Has Nadine thought of a dog that might work? So we'll see. So I'll do that. And I apologize for the lighting. It's really funky in here. That's pretty much what I'm looking at as far as vlog and stuff, as far as getting things going or not. And a big thank you to the person that subscribed to my channel yesterday. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers on there, mostly friends and family and a few other people that I've told about this channel. Thanks a lot, and this is Service Dog Diaries signing off.